Shit. What up there, gaming communities? This is your boy Chidi, or Chidi, or whatever you want to call me. And today, I'm here to talk about Spec Ops The Line. Now, before I get into this, I just want to go ahead and say this. I apologize for how late this is, because I meant to get this up yesterday, along with my Toriko chapter review for my manga guys. But I just wasn't feeling myself yesterday, so I decided to wait on this so that I could come to you guys with, you know, the Chidi that you love, know, and enjoy watching. So here we are. Got the review. Let's get this shit going. Now, just to let you guys all know, as a heads up, there may be some audio delay in the video. I apologize if that does happen. Not much I can really do. Broke, and my camera sucks. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, let me give you a little bit of backstory about me and Spec Ops The Line. I always had interest in this game. I've seen it. I remember when it came out, I think it was like the VGAs when they first showed it. I remember watching the trailer and all that. And I was like, this game looks awesome, but for some reason I just didn't end up buying it. I was just like, okay, it just flew under my radar when it came out. Now, earlier this year, one of my subscribers, one of my like first commenting subscribers, by the way, Dragon Elf, tells me, yo, you need to play this game. This game is everything you would probably love in a military shooter. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I mean, I didn't say it wasn't. I was like, okay, all right, I'll check it out. But I kept putting it off until now. And yo, Elf, I know you're watching this. Thank you. This is in my top 5 best military shooters of all time. It's that good to me. This game moved my soul. Yo, so all backstory aside, let's go ahead and get into this review. That is simply because I already know what I'm gonna give the game. Like I could like put this up on Twitter or Facebook and just tell you guys, but no. I want this video to exist for those who are on the fence about buying it. So let's go ahead and get into it. Spec Ops The Line. The story, it takes place in Dubai. You play as Captain Walker, a Delta Force operator, and his squad, Lugo and I think it's John, Lugo, and Adams. Now, these three guys, you know, Delta Force operators, are in Dubai doing reconnaissance because the damn 33rd, a military battalion, was sent there to provide aid for the city of Dubai after the most devastating sandstorms in history hit the city. Now, their job was to see what the hell was going on in Dubai, which has been declared a no man's land. But through a string of events, they become a part of the problems in Dubai, trying to become heroes. That is pretty much the story. I am not spoiling anything because let me put it this way. I spoiled one moment in the game. And I feel so bad because that is probably the biggest moment when you realize Spec Ops The Line is unlike any other military shooter story you've ever played. Because the game starts off generic. Like it starts off like any other military story, you know, the funny guy, the concours collective guy, the stone-clad leader. Like, you know, it's like everything you would, the usual military setup. But once you get to that part, and for those of you who have played the game, you know exactly which part I'm talking about. The game turns. And you really start feeling like a monster at a point. Like at a point you feel like, what the fuck am I doing? Like this game takes you to some dark places about yourself. Like for real. Like I've seen comments. People have gone to some really dark places with this game. And that's what makes this game so unique. Because there have been people who legitimately said this game is stupid because it makes you feel guilty. That's the point. That is what this game is supposed to. It's supposed to open your eyes and make you see the difference between how real war is done and what these games show us. Like in Call of Duty, when you shoot someone in Call of Duty, it doesn't matter. It's just like you're just shooting at a cardboard cutout, an extra. In Spec Ops, you feel something, whether it be happiness or like, oh man, I'm killing people, but you feel something, and that is better than most shooters. And this story really shows you how there really is no hero a lot of the times. A lot of the times it's just doing what you have to do and hoping to God you don't become a monster at the end of it, which you have to play the game to find out where this shit goes. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the gameplay, which I consider the gameplay in a way a part of the story, because the characters grow throughout the story. The characters change, and some of that is shown in the gameplay. So let's just go ahead and hop into that. Now, in the gameplay, you have the ability to shoot your enemies. Of course, it's a third-person shooter. Now, when you shoot and kiss, sometimes you don't fully kill your enemy. So when you walk up to them to execute them, you will literally hear people screaming out on the battlefield as you're continuing to shoot because you're leaving someone to bleed out. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, you could hear like the people drowning in their own blood. Like, it gets really graphic, and you fuck, man, make it stop. Like, it gets dark. And then when you actually do get to execute your enemies, at first it feels like a mercy. Like, you know, you'll stomp them out real quick and you'll like just put one quick shot in the head and get it over with. Like, it won't be anything too long and drawn out, but after a certain point in the game, the executions, it might have just been me noticing this, but after a point, the executions get more and more violent as the characters get more and more tired and angry. Like, they'll become less lenient and more like, fuck you, I'm killing you, you piece of shit. Like, it gets dark. And the gameplay in and of itself, the shooting, the getting shot at, it's all intense. Like, you can feel every moment, like every bullet, like especially on the higher difficulties, which I highly suggest you play this. I'm sorry if my camera desynced, not much I can do about it. Anyways, so there's not, like, when you get into a firefight in this game, especially on the harder difficulties, which I highly recommend you play them on because that's where the real sense of intensity comes in this game. It is like some of the best experiences in third-person shooters I've ever had. Like, it is intense. Like, you're like, fuck, every bullet has to count because ammo is not everywhere to be found. You have to be very sparing on how you use your shots, place them, and you can't just go, bah! It's like you want to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to just take it one shot at a time. And it is so great, dude. This atmosphere of just despair and intensity that you get in this game is just like, this game is like no other that I've ever played. Now I just want to go ahead and say before I move on to the next part is that there are some genuine problems with the gameplay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put those out right now. First of all, the controls are clunky, which is probably, that's the biggest issue with the gameplay. The controls are very, very clunky, and that is a no-go. It gets annoying at times because sometimes you'll run towards cover and you won't take cover, but that's a lot with a lot of third-person shooters, so I'm a little bit more lenient on that. And then there's also the vaulting system, in which you vault over cover like in any other third-person shooter, but the problem is the vaulting doesn't really the vault button is the same as the punch button, so when you try to vault, you'll actually accidentally punch and then I'll get you killed, and then that makes you angry and salty, and I understand that because I've been there. So that's a genuine problem. That is a genuine issue. And for some people, they say that, I have to mention this, they say the gameplay is generic. I don't feel like it is. I felt pure just enjoyment throughout the whole experience, but either way it goes. Now, man, I really hate that my camera D6, but I gotta get this video up to you guys. Either way it goes. So the next thing is, graphics. The graphics in this game are, I wouldn't say beautiful, but they were good. They're good for their time. Like, I don't even think during its time these were like the most amazing graphics ever, but they were good graphics. They could hold up well with any other game that came out back in 2012. This was a really, really good looking game. I enjoyed looking at it. I enjoyed the scenery. Very nice. Now, finally, the musical score, the OSTs. Now, at first I was gonna rate the game lower because I was like, okay, well, I don't really feel anything. I don't really remember any of the OSTs until last night when I was on YouTube. And fuck, man, I know this video is gonna be out of sync like a motherfucker. Forgive me, please. Anyways, so is when I was on YouTube last night and I was going around and I found one of the OSTs, and as soon as I listened to it, I was instantly like that. I was back in the fight. In that game, I remembered every scenario. It all hit me. Do you understand? This is a musical score that will bring back every memory you feel. Dude, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not like something you'll go out to go and hear it. But if you hear it, you will instantly remember, oh yeah, I remember that one fight I was in, and that intense moment where I only had like a few bullets left, and that one grenade, that one fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will always remember that. Now, I don't know what that means. For me, that is what a great musical score is all about. Will it take you back to that moment? And for me, it did. So now here we are at the final verdict, which I was torn on at first, but then I realized that this is my opinion. I don't have to go by anybody else's. So in my opinion, this game is a go out and buy it now. And personally, this is my game of the year. I don't care that it came out in 2012. This is the best game I've played all year, period. YOLO. Either way it goes, man, this is the highest score I can give a game, which is go out and go buy it now. Highly recommend it. Go check it out when you get the chance. Either way it goes, it's only $15, by the way. This game will take you to some dark, but now, disclaimer, this game, if you are not a fan of being taken to dark places, if you always want to be the hero, if you don't want to feel any sort of darker emotions and really know how far you would go, then don't play the game. Seriously, like don't buy the game, because this game isn't. I recognize this game isn't for everyone. Some people just want to play a game and feel like the awesome hero, no shades of gray, just being the good guy fighting the bad guy. But if you're like me and you want to see a different take on things, check this game out, because it sure as hell gives a shot to your system. Either way it goes, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out now. This is your boy chdeaaanime signing out. Please be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and do everything to help Black Brother thrive. And I'm gonna catch you on the flip. It has been golden. Peace out, gaming communities.